Students need to grasp and assimilate an understanding of information literacy, both the lower order skills needed to find and access resources and the higher order thinking skills required to use and evaluate information. NETs are the standard for 21st century students. This term, 21st century skills, suggests that our students need to develop skills not already present in their repertoire. The lecturing teacher is a time-honored method for students to gather information. Librarians have often been the keepers of traditional forms of printed information. Textual information found in books is also a traditional avenue for students to gather and evaluate information. Print media such as magazines are also traditional means of gathering information. Newspapers are a great traditional source for gathering current information at the local, national, and world levels. The World Wide Web offers a host of tools that can be utilized to gather, evaluate, and use information in the 21st century. If properly modeled to students, Internet search engines are a great 21st century tool for gathering information. For example, online databases such as EBSCOhost are being utilized in the 21st century by students to gather, evaluate, and use information. Other tools, such as Noodle tools, are being utilized by students as a storage and evaluation tool for information processing in the 21st century.
I don't think that most students enter high school with the skills that they need. I find that the first thing they want to do on any research project is Google it and pick the first answer that they find and be done. And it's really difficult to get them past Google to understand that while Google is a wonderful tool, it's not the only tool available, and they have to be much more conscientious consumers of information when they're searching online, because it's not always authoritatively done, it's not always current or accurate, and a lot of times students don't want to take the time to do that. So I think that in the back of their minds they understand what they have to do, but they really aren't quite ready yet at the 9th grade level. I think the biggest challenge that students face nowadays with digital resources is connected to the Google issue, in that they have to understand that any information that's been put into a print resource has gone through a stringent publication process. So there is a team of people who sit and make sure that the person who wrote the information is an expert on the topic, that the information is accurate and current, whereas anything online is not holding that same guarantee. So I think their biggest challenge is learning how to evaluate the information they find and see if it's written by an authoritative source, and see if that person is an expert in the field, and see if the information is accurate by comparing it to other online resources on the same topic. And again, the stumbling block with that would be some students just want to find the first answer and don't want to go through that process. So I think that's the biggest challenge that students face today. As educators, I think what we can do to help our students the most is look at research and information literacy as a process to learn, and not necessarily focus on the end product. When I was an English teacher years ago and we did the research unit, the emphasis was on the product, the 5 to 7 page paper. And nowadays, with the different types of resources and digital tools available, I think that we need to slow down our instruction and be more explicit and model how to use all of the digital resources available, and not focus so much on the product. There are two tools that I find very, very valuable. And the first on the student end is Noodle Tools. And it's an online organizational system for students to use anytime they're solving an information problem. It gives them the ability to gather all of their information online so that they can create a works cited, and they can then take notes from all of the sources that they've used. They're able to tag those notes under meaningful topics. They can even do a tag search where they can have the program look at all of the tags that they've used and give data on how many times a tag appears. They can add visual cues, they can add metacognitive notes to what they're writing, and they also can develop an online outline where they can drag and drop all of the note cards they've created. So on the student end, I think Noodle Tools is a wonderful digital resource for taking students through the inquiry process. From the end of the librarian, I enjoy using LibGuides, which is an online digital curation tool that allows me to gather digital resources and put them into one portal that students can access. So back in the old days, librarians would just put together carts of books for teachers, and I still do that, but I can also create a LibGuide page for students to access anywhere they have internet access, and it's going to link them to different areas where they can find the information they need.
Please help me in welcoming today's keynote speaker, Melissa Engel Unruh.